What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a lower third title inside DaVinci Resolve. Let's get into it. Hey, if you guys are new here, my name's Josh Haynes. I'm a freelance filmmaker and I bring out weekly videos helping you guys grow as creators. So I've been getting a lot of messages from people and requests asking how to do a lower third, specifically like the one that I use, which I'm not doing exactly that. I am going to show you how to do a very complex lower third. This is a little bit of a longer video. It's got quite a few steps in it, but it's a really cool lower third and you can reuse it later. So let's jump inside DaVinci Resolve and we'll go from there. So this is what we're looking to replicate, and it's really not that hard. The first step you're gonna wanna do is get a couple images of whatever you're wanting to use. In my case, I'm using Instagram and Twitter and then my handle underneath. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the effects library right here. We're gonna go down to effects and we're gonna grab a new fusion composition. We're gonna drag it right here. I'm just gonna move this one out of the way, drag that right there. It's automatically gonna save it at 5 seconds long is what it does. I like to be a little longer, about 7 seconds. So I'm gonna drag that out just so I have a little bit more room to do the animation. We're gonna hop inside Fusion. Once we're inside Fusion, you can see all we have is the media out. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so we can see. That'll be fine right there. The first step we're gonna do is we're gonna actually make a background. We're gonna bring it over here and we're gonna connect it to the media out. You can see it made it black. What we're actually going to do is I'm gonna turn the alpha down on the background under Inspector, Background, and then the background tab. I'm gonna turn the alpha all the way down. You can leave it for a color if you want that effect. I do not recommend doing that, or you could leave it a color just so you could see better when you're animating stuff instead of having this checkered background. But I'm fine with just doing the black background, and I'm gonna turn the alpha channel all the way down. That way it's completely transparent. The next thing we gotta do is start bringing in our images. So I'm gonna drop the Instagram right here. We're gonna right click on it and we're gonna rename to IG, hit enter. We're also gonna bring the Twitter down and we're gonna do the same thing to that, rename, Twitter. Now we got to connect these to our actual node tree. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a merge node right here. We're going to hold shift and the mouse at the same time, connect it, and we are going to link that right there. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to add a transform node so we can make this smaller or bigger. In my case, I want it smaller. So again, under inspector over here, transform, we're going to grab the size slider and we're just going to slide it down a little bit. Doesn't really matter on size yet. And there's these little red dots. I'm grabbing them and just moving them over. You can also grab them here and move it. Either one works. And I'm just going to kind of move it over here roughly where I know I want it. We're gonna do the same thing with the Twitter. We are going to add another merge node. We're gonna hit shift again, drop it, click that. We're gonna add a transform node to that, and we're gonna link the transform node to the merge. Now you can see this isn't round, and I'm gonna show you how you can create that ellipse around it. So what we're gonna do is with the Twitter node selected, we're gonna click this little ellipse node right here. You can also hit shift spacebar and you can type an ellipse and bring it up that way. The faster way is just clicking it right here. This is going to now automatically cut that out into an ellipse. The only thing you have to do is really start messing with the size. I bring it basically right to where it's gonna cut it off, and then I bring it back down. Right about there, looks good. We're gonna click on the transform node, and here we can now size it down. A good trick is to slide this over really close to where that's gonna be, and I like to just kind of size it really close, kind of move it, line it up, maybe just a little bit bigger. That's pretty good. I can live with that. Slide it over right there. And now we're on our way to creating a really nice lower third. The next thing we need is a text. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a text node. We're also gonna add a merge node. Hit shift again, drag it, connect it to there, connect the text to that. And we're gonna type something in. I'm just gonna put my Instagram and Twitter handle, Josh Haynes _KC. That'll work just fine. You can change it by going in here to the paint tab if you want, and I like to do just the outline. I think it looks cool. You don't have to do that. I'm gonna hop back in here into the text and I'm gonna size it down just a little bit. It's a little big for my taste. I'm actually gonna change the text to something I prefer. Monochrome looks pretty good. We're gonna do the same thing and we are gonna add another transform node right here connected to the text. And with the transform node selected, I am gonna slide this down and over right here. I'm actually gonna click on the text itself and size it up a little bit. That's pretty good. Click on the transform again, move it over. You can move the text around within the text node, but I prefer using the transform node, and I'll explain why I like doing that here in just a little bit. Now you could leave this just the way it is and you don't have to do a background. I prefer to do a background behind it because I think it just makes the text pop. And depending on what you're shooting, sometimes you can't read the text very well. Of course, you can add a shadow on top of that, but I prefer doing just a color kind of outline on the background. I think it looks better. I think it pops a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight the text, transform, and merge node. I'm gonna slide them over, and then I am going to add a background right here. So we're gonna add another background and another merge. We're gonna add the merge right here, background there. And before I do anything, I'm actually gonna change this from solid color to horizontal. And in here, we can pick multiple colors. I'm gonna do kind of a teal and kind of a orange look. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe make that teal just a little bit more blue. If you wanna do a solid color, you can change it to solid color. You can add more colors than that, but I'm fine with just a horizontal. Then with the background selected, we're gonna hit the rectangle. You can actually do the same thing again where you can hit Shift Spacebar and look for a rectangle, but I just prefer doing it this way. With the rectangle selected, we are going to size it down. I'm gonna make the width a little bit smaller, height a little bit smaller. Now let's click off of that. We're gonna click the background. We're gonna hit a transform node again. Again, you can move the rectangle within itself right here. The reason I don't like doing it in here is because you can see if I slide it over, I'm losing that orange to teal, which is fine if I want more orange than teal, like maybe I want it just like that. And then I would click on the transform node, and if I move the transform node, none of the coloring is changing because it's all the same. I'm only moving the whole image itself. So we're gonna click on the transform node. We're gonna size this down a little bit more. I'm gonna bring it down here. I'm gonna slide it over. I need to click back on the rectangle and I need to make the width wider and the height a little bit smaller. Click back on the transform node and we'll slide it over. Now, another thing I like to do is make the background a little bit softer. So I'm actually gonna click on the rectangle node again, and I'm gonna bring the level down to maybe 0.5. Looks pretty good. If you can't tell, you can click on the background node at the very beginning. You can slide it all the way up to black so you can see on this rectangle if that's too soft. Maybe you want it to be all the way full. Maybe you want it to be a little bit softer. That's up to you. It's kind of just a stylized choice, but I'm just gonna sit right at 5. Now you could leave this just the way it is and you're gonna have a nice 7-second lower third title that you can fade in and out, and it will look very good. I prefer to do things a little bit more complex. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the 10-second marker right here. I'm gonna click on the transform node of the Instagram. I'm gonna add a keyframe on size. I'm going to click the center and pivot points. Then I'm gonna scrub back to 4 frames. I'm gonna size this all the way down. Then I'm gonna go over 1, 2, 3 frames right here, and we're gonna size this up actually bigger than it needs to be. Right about there should be good. And if we play that through, it's kind of got this bubble bounce effect, which I kind of like instead of it just hitting really harsh. We're gonna do the same thing with the Twitter transform node, but instead of the exact same spot, we're gonna go to 12 frames. We're gonna add a keyframe here on center and pivot and size. We'll go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll size that down. 1, 2, 3. We'll size it up. Right about there, should be pretty good. Now if we play that through, they both kind of pop up real quick, and I think that looks really cool. This is another reason why I like using the transform node on all of these layers. That way when you need to fix something or adjust a keyframe or delete the keyframes, you know it's in the transform nodes on every stack of nodes you have. I think it works really well. It keeps everything nice and tidy and easy to find when you need it. On the transform node right here, I'm gonna go to 5 frames instead. I'm gonna add a size, pivot, and center. I'm gonna go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10. Add another set of keyframes, move back over to the first one, and let's bring it right there. Play that through. Now we're gonna move on to the text itself. So we're gonna click on the transform node. We're gonna go right here. Let's do 6 frames. We'll add size, center, and pivot. Go over 1, 2, 3 frames right here. 4 is spot on. Grab the Y and slide it down. I'm also gonna grab the size and try sliding it down and see what that looks like. Of course, you can do way more to this, and you can add way more keyframes and customize way more things. I'm not doing that for the purpose of the tutorial and the length of it. But again, you can customize this and make it however you want. Don't just rip everything off that I'm doing. Use these steps to kind of create something of your own. Play that through in your editor. If you like the way it looks, which I'm happy with right now, we're gonna hop back into the Fusion tab and we're gonna keyframe them to hop out. So we'll just start with the text. We'll go 55 frames. We're gonna click on the transform. We're gonna hit size, center, and pivot. Move over 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. We will just make the size go down this time. And we are gonna grab the transform. We're gonna move back over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. Let's move over 4 frames. We're gonna add a center keyframe. We're gonna move over 1, 2, 3, and we are going to slide it back out. Then we're gonna hop over to the transform node on the Twitter, say around 53 frames. We're gonna click a size. We're gonna go over 1. We're gonna size it up a little bit. 2, 3, 4. We'll size it all the way down. I'm gonna hit the transform node on the Instagram. I'm gonna find where this goes up. Add a keyframe on size, move over 1, 2, size it up a little bit. 2, size it back down. I actually like the ending better here, so I went over to the beginning where I had the transform text selected, and all I did was grab the Y, and instead of having it down at the bottom, I just put it back to the center. So the only thing it's doing now is just fading in from being small. Watch that all the way through. If you like it, I think that looks really good the way it is, and then it'll pop out. Boop. Yeah, I think that looks really good. There you go, guys. That's how you do a lower third title inside DaVinci Resolve. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. It really does help. Drop a comment below on some other tutorials or videos you want to see coming out. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and tag along. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you know when my new videos come out. You guys are amazing. I'm the Iron Giant. I'm out. Peace.